Hi guys, so I love this question. How long does it take to become consistently profitable? Now, not to waste a lot of your time, to be honest, my honest opinion, and it's very unpopular, I would say consistently that I've seen 5 years. Now, that's 5 years if you're learning on your own and you're learning through trial and error. That period can be shortened to 6 to 8 months if you have someone who's teaching you and mentoring you. So, even if you've been taught and you're being mentored, it may take you longer. The reason why I say that is because there's certain things that you can only learn when they happen. So they won't happen in those 6 to 8 months, but they'll happen later on in your career within that 5 year period. So 5 years, if you're learning on your own, you're learning through free resources, you're finding videos, you're reading books, you're going through charts, 5 years. Now, those people who say, I went on a demo for a month and then I went into live, there's a thing called beginner's luck, and even the biggest investors have talked about it. Ray Dalio has talked about it. Bill Ackman has talked about it. Even The Alchemist, in the book The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, he talks about beginner's luck a lot. And it also depends on your background. I've seen that for those which have more of a finance or economics background, it does take them a shorter period of time. It doesn't mean that you need to have a finance or economics or maths background, but it tends to take them a shorter period of time. I think because their backgrounds are suited for trading, in that they know in order to do well in like a math background or a finance background, you have to practice and practice and practice and practice a lot. And so for them, it's much easier. In terms of someone who doesn't have that kind of background, it can still take you a shorter period of time if you're hardworking. Like I said, it takes you longer if you are self-taught as opposed to course taught. I've seen though that a lot of self-taught, like the really successful ones, are self-taught. Now that doesn't mean that you can't be doing well if you're taking a course. It just means that there's a lot of terrible courses out there, is what it means. It will take you longer if you're using signals. That doesn't help. It also depends on the type of job you have. If you have more time to dedicate onto the charts, then it will take you a shorter period of time to learn. You've also heard of the 1990 rule. It doesn't mean that trading is hard. It just means that for some reason people focus on traders being successful within 90 days, yet they give engineers 4 years to learn, and then they don't say what's the failure rate of engineers within 90 days. And you never hear people say what's the failure rate of doctors within 90 days. I'm sure if you told doctors to operate on patients within 90 days, you'd have the same failure rate you find with traders. And it also depends on whether you're a day trader or not. There's a higher failure rate amongst day traders than long-term traders. So remember that. And it depends on mentorship or institution. I've seen that institutions tend to take very few people, and they tend to take people with a finance, economics, or master's background, or masters in maths or finance or economics background. And because of that, it's easier for them to be successful in the sense that they have mentorship. So if you find mentors who aren't, even if they aren't in institutions, it does take you shorter time if you have a mentor. Now, you don't have to pay for a mentor. You can find free videos. Siam Kid is a great free mentor. Just like literally binge on his stuff, which is what I used to do in the first days. Profitability does not equal full-time trader. I really want to emphasize that. When I say profitability, I don't mean being a full-time trader. There are people who become full-time traders within a year. They already were making money from business ventures, from sales, from marketing, from YouTube, from other things, insurance, other things. So please don't mistake being a full-time trader as being consistently profitable. You can be consistently profitable and still have a good job and still keep your job. It doesn't mean you have to quit your job. It doesn't mean that in order to be consistently profitable, you have to have a Ferrari or Lamborghini. It just means that you're making consistent gains per year. So if you're making 23% a year, great. You don't need a Ferrari or Lamborghini. That brings me to an interesting case of, I don't know if you remember Cashflow Global, who was arrested for some fraud and breaching FSCA regulations. It just shows, if you really watch the documentary that was done, this girl was doing really, really well on her own. She was making consistent gains. But because she wanted the Maserati, she then gave him her money to trade. And by the way, when I looked at, like, they show you her trading account, like her MT4 on her phone, she was doing really, really well. But because she was like, how come I don't have a Maserati? How come I don't have a Ferrari yet? Let me give my money to these scammers. So you don't have to take a course. Is just the 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 main point to take away. And avoid signal groups. Avoid groups on Facebook. It's the problem with groups like signal groups and groups on Facebook is that a lot of the time everyone's just bombarding you with everything. You won't learn if you're being bombarded with everything. You need to take a simple approach, simple strategy, master that strategy. That's all you need. You don't need to be in 7 different groups on Facebook, subscribe to 7 different people on YouTube. A lot of the times they aren't even trading the strategies they're talking about. So be careful of that. Like I said, less is more. Read less. You don't have to read 10 books. You need to practice more. It's more like swimming. You don't become a better swimmer by reading more books on swimming. You become a better swimmer by swimming every day, which is the same thing with trading. You become better by practicing on the charts, going through charts, practicing your strategy, practicing your patterns, practicing your technical analysis, practicing and tracking your percentage growth, not by reading tons of books. When I read tons of books, it's because I've already done the technical analysis. Now, going into 6 years, I enjoy reading books and just seeing what other people are learning, because I'm there to learn not the technical analysis or what they're trading. I'm there to learn like little gems of things that they've learned throughout the years. That's why I read a lot. Keep your strategies simple. Don't go for complicated math-ridden strategies, especially if you don't have a math background. If you don't have an economics background, there's no point in looking for fundamental strategy. Aim for consistency and not doubling and tripling your accounts. That's pretty much it. If you stick with what I've said, be sure within a year you can do it. I just said 5 years because I was studying, and then I didn't have enough time. I was dedicating like 2 hours a day. So it can take you less if you have a mentor, if you're taking a course, or if you're dedicating more time to it.